Before I start my video, I just want to tell you that I've been looking and learning about new things on YouTube analytics, and part of it shows me how many of you are subscribed to me and how many of you have turned on all notifications for my channel. Right now, 23.9%, which is 2,500 of you, have turned on all notifications to my channel, which is fantastic. That's actually really good. 24% is in the typical 10 to 30% I've been told from YouTube. If you want to turn on all notifications, you just go onto my channel. Next to the subscribe button, there will be a bell. You change this to all, and it should give you notifications for all my videos. Thank you to anybody that does turn on notifications for my video. The first hour, I always try and respond to comments. So if you are getting notified and you make a comment, I'll do my best to reply to you guys. And you'll also find out when I go live on my streams. What I'll do is I'll compare the stats to this image in a month's time and see how many more of you have hit the notification bell. Thank you very much for the ongoing support of my channel, guys. On to the video. Hello survivors, and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video. And in this video we're going to be taking a first look at S-Class Dr. Stevens, who is going to be available in the upcoming Paging Dr. Stevens event. It does look like he's going to be made available kind of like Aaron was, but we'll have to wait for more information to be released on the event itself. But this is going to be the character that is going to be the main reward. If we look at him visually, he looks like a much more geared up Dr. Stevens than we've ever seen. He has got an armored top on. He honestly looks like the buffest Dr. Stevens I've ever seen. He's been in the weight room. He's been hitting the weights for sure. He's got his mask on. He's ready. It is Doc Stevens. As his base stats, he has got 3,714 attack, 4,246 defense, and 2,654 HP. This is without veteran rings. However, his veteran ring stats would obviously get boosted as they go up to 4,516 attack, 4,780 defense, and 2,940 HP. The 30 veteran rings come into great use, bringing that attack up to the sort of levels that Arav has. His trait is fast. His role is classified as a support character, but it does lean a bit more heavily into attack than you'd normally see a support character, and we'll see if that's going to be a good thing or not. His rush is called Take Your Meds. It's a 66 AP cost rush. Deal 800% damage to one enemy. While battling on the defense team, this character gets 60 crit and 50% defense for 3 turns. So obviously an extremely fast rush. 66 AP is great. It means you can use him on attack or defense teams with 8% weapons and get his rush off nice and quick if you so wish. However, because of the way his rush works in the split, he potentially doesn't have much going on if you do use it on an attack team. It will just do 800% damage to a single target. I'm not really sure why this has been split up too much. The second half isn't really that powerful or beneficial to him as a defense team character over attack team character, and it is kind of strange to split those things apart. If it was like a group heal or something like that, I would maybe understand that you want someone to be more of a healer on a defense team, whereas they're offensive on an attack team. I can get behind that, but this one doesn't seem to make much sense as it's only self buffs. The 800% damage, however, is massive, and not many characters are going to be able to survive that. I believe Dr. Stevens is one of the highest single target damage dealers in the game now. There is the likes of Mercer, who can hit triple with 800%. You also have Princess, who does line damage for 1,000, and I believe it's 1,500% on the rush of the Gentleman. Now, going back to the buffs on the defense team, like I said before, these aren't going to change too much, but I do like the fact that he does get a defense buff here. I have talked about it in the past where it does seem kind of underwhelming, and while I do think it's strange about the split here, it isn't too underwhelming on the defense team, just on the attack team. Now, he has got an active skill. It is bonus HP, attack up, heal, and recover heal reduction, so a lot going on here. It has an initial cooldown of 2, cooldown of 1, number of uses 5. So quite quick cooldown here. That means he'll be using it every other turn, kind of like how Pete uses his every other turn with the 1 turn cooldown. This character gets 50% bonus HP and 50% attack for 2 turns, and regains up to 50% of their max HP. Up to 2 teammates recover from heal reduction. So again, quite like his rush, very, very selfish in terms of it's all to himself pretty much, except the small cleanse on heal reduction. 50% bonus HP is huge. 50% attack is very nice, and he gains 50% normal HP as well. So overall, he could potentially gain 100% HP just from doing his active, as long as he's already taken over 50% of his HP as damage, and that would be very frustrating every other turn. The only problem I see here is that his HP stat is the lowest out of all of his stats. You can obviously boost this with a HP weapon, mods, leader skill, but it would have been much nicer if the HP and defense stat in this situation was switched round just to take advantage here. However, his defense stat being higher will be taken advantage with his rush, so it's a mixed bag. Personally, I dislike coming up against characters that give high amounts of bonus HP, mainly because I generally use percentage based weapons and attack stats rather than bleeds, which bypasses bonus HP and makes it a lot easier. Now, if you don't like the active, you can change it to a starting cooldown of 4 and make it so that the cooldown itself is 3. At that point, you would not really do it too much on a defense team. He does not give himself any AP with this, and he would always do his active skill unless he could rush that turn, which is a possibility just based on the fact that he has 66 AP and will most likely be used in a team in conjunction with other fast characters. Now, Dr. Stevens does have a specialist skill, and I will say Honor Roll is probably one of my favorites, mainly because it can be used very effectively on an attack team because it will obviously boost your attack character's damage by turn 2, by turn 3, by 20, 40, 60%. However, on a defense team, it means you can massively gear in a character towards defensive stats, which is what I used to do with 6-star Tara back in the day. She had Honor Roll, and I used to just rely on that to get her attack stat up. I also used to do this on Tobin, where I didn't really put his attack stat up too much with his mods, just with his weapon. And the damage output that he still did because of Honor Roll was massive. So I think Honor Roll is a good offensive based specialist skill for a defense team character. And honestly, it does look like Dr. Stevens is going to be that defense team character just because of how underwhelming his rush is otherwise. Now, he doesn't have an attached weapon. As you can see in his left hand, it is a default weapon. In his right hand, I think it's just for show. That left dagger is just a nothing default weapon. Now, you can put whatever you want in his hand. Obviously, you could do 20% AP to self and get him to rush quickly. I don't think he necessarily needs to rush quickly. If anything, that could be kind of detrimental. You'd want him to at least take one turn just for that specialist skill to start rolling, no pun intended. But if he did rush quickly, 800% would take out pretty much any character on an attack team who's offensive and has no real defensive stats. He would of course buff himself if he was commanded, so he wouldn't be a focus after that. 8% weapons would of course be another option, or absolute defense. You can have these weapons already crafted and just go into the hands of Dr. Stevens as well. So all round, I'm going to be honest, I think Dr. Stevens is a pretty cool character. I don't think his rush is amazing, but in combination with the specialist skill, I think it's not too bad. He is more of a defense team character, and I don't mind defense team characters being in events. I don't actually like working towards a defense team characters when it comes to my shards, just because a lot of the time I'm working towards a character that I'll never actually get to use, and it can take a long time to get them. I think visually Dr. Stevens looks great, and I do like how the art has looked in the 2020 characters so far. I think it definitely has taken a step up. The S-Class characters, obviously the way they've changed things, where the S-Class character is the more unique looking character, and the 5 and 6 stars are a little bit more dumbed down. For instance, the Rick looked amazing that I pulled for. AJ looked amazing too, so I'm really liking the art styles of these characters. These screenshots were provided to me and the other content creators by Scopely. It does look like Scopely want to start getting involved in providing content creators with early looks at characters to create content around, which is going to be really nice going forwards and make things a lot easier for us, especially myself, in terms of being able to get a good night's sleep when it comes to hanging around and waiting for leaks to be released. So hopefully we've got some more videos to come on characters coming up. There will be the event information released tomorrow, most likely, when it comes to the Paging Dr. Stevens event. So stay tuned for that. But do tell me otherwise what you think of Dr. Stevens. Is he a character that you'd actually want to work towards in an event? Personally, like I said already, I do really like him. I just have a good feeling about him. I think he can sit on a defense team quite nicely. You could either use Aaron as a leader or Angel, and it will go pretty well for you. And like I said earlier in the video, bonus HP for me is very, very annoying, and it's a huge amount of bonus HP every other turn, 50%. It's definitely going to slow down some teams. If I had one wish for Dr. Stevens, it would just be that his rush was a little bit more influential on an attack team than it is currently. But I want to thank you for tuning into my video. Please hit subscribe and turn on all notifications like I said in the intro, guys. Like I said, we'll check it out in a couple of weeks' time and see the increase and see if more people have hit those notifications. If the percentage increase, it'll be a nice little bit of fun. Thank you very much for watching my video. And as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.